Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 311. I am Brennan. Bellator 298, Logan Storley taking on Brennan Ward. We're going to break down all of the fights from the main card here. If you are looking for the prelims, it's in the next video. All right, before we get started into this stuff and before I do my normal thing, a shout out to Chris Lencioni and his family. Best wishes. I wish nothing but the best for you guys. If you guys don't know Chris Lencioni, he suffered a heart attack, or not a heart attack, heart failure during training from what they said, right? So he suffered heart failure, and it caused brain damage, and then he was hospitalized, not knowing if he was ever going to even move again, let alone walk or do anything else, and he recently walked out of the hospital under his own power. So it's freaking incredible, really, really cool, and it's awesome to see people recovering from that kind of stuff and getting back to their family and their life. All right, let's get started. If you like this kind of stuff, you like fight breakdowns, you like podcasts about MMA, subscribe to the channel so you know when the videos coming out. I do 2 or 3 videos every single week breaking down fights. Logan Storley, Brennan Ward. Oh boy. Okay. This fight wasn't that bad, but we will get into some. This was a slog to get through. Bellator 298, 10 out of 10, would not recommend. Now, there were some highlights, right? And this fight, Storley with the hard low kick to start, Ward with the nice triple jab, left hook from Ward finds the mark. Storley looking for the takedown, finally able to track him down, rolling over at the 3-minute mark. He rolled over, he gave up his back just to get the position, got on top. Storley stayed on top and landed enough damage to win that round. 3 minutes of control time for him. Obviously a 10-9 round for Storley. Second round here, Storley landing the low kick and Ward landing the jab in the right hand. Storley landing a calf kick and gets a nice double leg around 3:15, so similar to how the first round turned out. Storley got into mount and then on the back and gets a TKO win. Real quick here, Brennan Ward got up immediately, and he was in the process of standing up. I don't think he was rocked. I don't think he was severely damaged. I think the stoppage was a little premature here. I think he'd given him just a couple more seconds at least to work. I think he was working his way out of that position. Obviously his face, if you've ever been on the bottom before, like if you grapple, you kind of know how this feels, like where someone's on your back and then they suck your arms back to your belly and then you just face plant. Like, it looks really bad from the side, and it feels horrible. You feel like a little child. Like you've got no control over what's going on, but you're not out, right? And you have to get your hands back. You got to get you got to get control of your hands. You got to get control of your posture. You got to bring your knees under your hips to try and build a frame so you can stand back up. It takes some time, and I don't think he was given that time, and I don't think he was rocked or knocked out. I think it was a premature stoppage. But that being said, Brennan Ward, honestly, the referee just might have saved us from 25 minutes of this. Who knows? Brennan Ward could have caught him, and Storley could have got tired. We could have had a banger on our hands. I don't know. Nobody knows. But not a lot of highlights from this one. I think this is just this is the finishing sequence. Okay. Oh, that's not the finishing sequence, but that's him doing the hip ride. I call it the Dagestani hip ride. I know that's not what that is, but then he works from this position here. See, it's not that these shots aren't landing. They absolutely are landing here, but you can tell. See, right there, he was looking to get back up. And he was rotating over. I understand why the referee went in there. And again, as far as watching that for 25 minutes, I guess I'm not complaining. Good grief. Okay, just let's move on. Great win for Storley, by the way. Storley looked great. I have not taken anything away from Storley. I thought he looked fantastic, getting back to his winning ways. I want to see what happens next if he gets another title shot after that. Valentine, Moldavsky versus Steve Mowry. Oh, boy, guys. And it begins. Oh, yeah, if you're looking for a specific fight, the timestamps are down below. Honestly, most of these fights we could cover. Holy shit, is it all of them? Man, maybe. I don't know. We could probably cover them all at the same time. It's just copy and paste, right? Mowry jabbing his way into range, keeping Moldavsky to the warning track. Moldavsky took him down against the cage, and then Moldavsky was he's the faster guy. He got a duck under. It was a beautiful back body lock takedown. And then, he's on top for most of the round. Mowry kicked him off with 32 seconds left, and then Moldavsky got the takedown again. 10-9 Moldavsky. Second round, Moldavsky right in on the takedown. They get back up, and they go back down. Mowry gets up again and then taken down again. He looks really clunky in the grappling out there. Not a fun fight to watch, especially this late at night when you can't, the way that Showtime presents things where you can't pause it, you can't fast forward, you can't rewind to go back and check stuff out, and you got to watch it on time as it's being presented. Now, they do move a little bit faster than UFC events from what I've noticed because they move like a pay-per-view event. So they do move along a little bit faster, which I like. But I'll tell you, the not having the ability to rewind, go back, pause, walk away, it feels almost debilitating. Like, I can do that on a UFC pay-per-view. Why can't I do it here? I can do it on ESPN Plus. Why can't I do it here? It's kind of stupid. I don't like it. Boring fight, 2018. Moldavsky got the takedown in the third round, and then I wrote down, this is horrible, 30-27. Now, this is not... Moldavsky went out there and did what he needed to do, and Mowry couldn't do anything about it. End of story. Right? This was a skipper. Honestly, most of this card was a skipper. Like, do not go out of your way. I'll tell you right now, do not go out of your way to go watch these. You're just going to be disappointed. Scorecards. Looking at the scorecards right here. All three judges, 30-27. Easy peasy. Yeah, and the judges were all over the place. Holy moly. Dalton Rosta taking on Jeffery. So this one looked a little different in the first round. Rosta going with the hooks and then the uppercut. Nothing really landed, but he's going hard, right? And then Jeffery landing a left hook as he entered into the clinch, but then he gets reversed. Rosta landing some decent hooks in the clinch. Jeffery landing a low kick, taking Rosta off his feet, pushing into the clinch again, gets reversed again. Jeffery landing knees to the head with Rosta trying to put his hands down on the ground. And he did land a low kick. He landed a kick to the head of a grounded opponent. He lifted his head off the ground, right? In that front headlock position. He lifted him up and tried to knee him in the head as his hands came up, and he mistimed one of them. Right, and Rosta is reaching, and they tell you backstage, they don't say this on the broadcast all the time, but they tell you backstage, do not reach for the ground. Do not reach for the ground. Okay, if you happen to be grounded and you're working your way back up, absolutely, but don't reach for the ground because the referee isn't going to save you. Right? Because if you're not touching the ground the moment, or it's questionable whether or not you were close to touching the ground when you get kneed in the head, the referee isn't going to save you all the time. And John McCarthy calls it playing the game, right? You're playing the game. Like, I'm down, I'm a grounded opponent, not grounded, grounded, not grounded. And, you don't want to play that game. That being said, I had Rosta winning this first round. I thought he landed the better shots early on. 10-9. Second round here. This is where it got really stupid. Rosta went for the takedown, got stuck in a front headlock, and then he tried it again. The same thing. Rosta fell on the double leg, and then he ends up lands on the bottom side of a front headlock position again. Jeffery was landing some hammer fists from the headlock. Dominant round from Jeffery. One-way traffic. 19-19 going to the third round here. Rosta landing a lead left hook as Jeffery enters, landing the low kick. Rosta attempting a double leg again. Jeffery stopping it again. Landing some damage from the front headlock position. Rosta is exhausted, and I don't think he did anything in this last round other than attempt takedowns. And he'd failed on everyone from 29-28 for Jeffery on my scorecard. Scorecards. Bell Minner had it 29-28, and Jared Valal had it 30-27. All three of those scorecards are valid. Nothing wrong with any of those. All right, James Gallagher versus James Gonzalez. Gonzalez landing a spinning back fist as they come together. Gallagher gets a takedown against the cage. Gallagher didn't do much with his position, having defended some leg lock attempts, but he did land some good ground and pound as this round went on, so I hit him up 10-9, right? If you gave this round to Gonzalez, I totally understand. Second round here, Gallagher with the takedown again. Another round with Gallagher sitting on top 20-18. right? He just stayed on top the entire time, so I had him up 20-18. Gonzalez is walking Gallagher down, swinging hooks, knowing he needed a finish. Gallagher took him down at 4:10, but Gonzalez gets a reversal. Now he gets on top with 2:30 left to work. Gonzalez dominated this last round. He just went out there, threw some damage, got in better position. I had it 29-28 for Gallagher. And if you look at the scorecards here, Cologne and Manis both had it for Gallagher, 29-28. Derek Minner had it 29-28 in favor of Gonzalez. Again, all those scorecards are acceptable. I think this was more indicative of the night as a whole, as far as the fighters and the type of fights that we saw. Sidney Outlaw versus Islam Mamedov. I don't got a lot of highlights to show you guys, not on the main card anyway. The main card was, you know what? Go check out some of the prelim card. We'll talk about that in the next video. I'll go over the prelims, and we can talk about that. But there were some things worth watching in the prelims. Jab from Outlaw staggered Mamedov, who dropped for a second in this first round. Outlaw got the takedown at 3:20. Mamedov had a bloody nose caused by that stiff jab. Outlaw just dominated him in all the wrestling exchanges, so clearly a 10-9 round for him. Mamedov was pressing forward, but nothing was landing for the first minute. Neither guy really landed anything. Hard jabs from Outlaw again. Outlaw with another single leg takedown. Mamedov grabbed the cage a bunch of times, almost like he doesn't know what to do when he's not the guy dominating the grappling exchanges. Mamedov reversed it with 1:05 left, but then Outlaw reversed it again with 20 seconds left, and he's on top again. This is pure grappling exchanges and not a lot of action, right? A lot of squeezing and holding, and not a lot of submission attempts or striking in any of these rounds. So 20-18 in favor of Outlaw for sure. Last one, not a lot landing on the feet for either guy yet again. Mamedov goes for a spinning kick and gets taken down. Mamedov rolling through the takedown, but Outlaw still gets in control and lands on top. Interesting to see the Dagestani on the receiving end of a boring wrestling control fight. I wonder if his team will complain about it. 30-27. It's one of those things where, the Dagestanis, and then obviously the scorecards were all 30-27 in favor of Outlaw. The Dagestani wrestlers, right? They're all really good, insanely high skill. They're all tough as nails, and usually you don't see them getting out-wrestled, especially in the manner that Outlaw out-wrestled him here, right? Pushing him against the cage, getting that hip ride position, figure fouring the legs, not letting them get back up. He didn't put the ankle in the pocket. A lot of like you'll see it. One of the guys did it on the prelims, but a lot of the Dagestani wrestling, what they'll do is they'll take your leg and they'll rest it. They'll rest your ankle in their hip pocket and then step up into it. So it pinches your leg in there, and you can't bring your foot back down to plant on the ground to get any force to get out of that position. And Outlaw didn't do that, but everything else about, the Dagestani wrestling style, that pressure style against the cage he was doing. And it was just interesting to see that, being done to them in that way, being done to him that way. So great win for Outlaw. Obviously, he had his issues outside the cage. And then before that, losing really quick, not getting to show his skill. So good for him to be back on track. Mamedov is 2-2 in Bellator. Maybe not the shining example that they were looking for that area. Especially if you're getting out wrestled by other dudes. I don't know. Sidney Outlaw is really good too, so it's not like Mamedov is bad. But again, another boring fight. You do not need to watch this. I would skip the whole main card. That's the way it is, man. This was not a fun one to watch. Not fun. Appreciate y'all for stopping by though. If you did like this, subscribe to the channel. We'll be breaking down the UFC this weekend. Next video is going to break down the prelims from this Bellator event. Subscribe so you know when that video comes out. Appreciate y'all. Have an amazing week. Love y'all.